we're live. It's just me.
Oh, here we are. Here we go. What's up, Catholic Illini family? Welcome to episode 2, 6 feet under, apart, whatever you would like to call it. So we're here again another Sunday. Happy Palm Sunday.
6 feet around.
Six feet around.
It's Fiona. Big and green.
Big Fiona, last week's highlight. Hey, we want to thank you if you joined us for Mass just a little bit ago. A beautiful liturgy to start us off for Holy Week. But back by popular demand, just from myself, from the priests, we want to do this again, you know? So here we are. And it's another time just to chill with you, let you ask questions, whatever questions you might want to have, ask, and we go from there. So, yeah.
So far, there's Mags Pie. I don't know who that is, but Mags Pie and Caitlin.
Nice.
So
here
thanks
we go.
for the two of you.
Yes. it'll pick up. It'll pick up. That's for sure. Yeah. So, but just to get us rolling here, I thought something from the liturgy. If we're gonna go to the film, the game tape.
Game
Game
tape.
tape.
That's,
What do you think?
Well, the Passion reading was long, but as you mentioned in the homily, that you got to play Jesus. So, I caught that. I know that you were Jesus.
Were you laughing when I was?
He was
Yes.
laughing. Yeah.
I saw
And then
you laughing at something. I didn't remember what it was.
And then I was laughing at him.
And then he was laughing at me because I just was saying, then you out there, you're the crowd. I got to play Jesus.
Just so that everybody knows that.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed. I was used.
Oh yes, exciting. But yeah, let's see what else. That's the one thing.
I
With this.
affiliated myself with the crowd. That was the whole point. You missed that because you were laughing.
I was laughing. Well, I can watch it again.
No,
That's the
yeah.
best thing. That's the best part of it. Because I just, we go through it. But before we get into some questions, there's some really good questions this week. We're trying to figure out some normalcy here, and we always get asked. I don't know if always is the right word, but asked what would you do if you weren't a priest? That's a good question. I'll just throw that at you because one that I was told in seminary was a used car salesman. Yeah, I was told
You'd be good at that. I really do think you'd be good at that. You'd have the cars all nice and clean.
That's one.
And then,
I could just sell you anything.
You could sell me.
Right, maybe. That was one. But the other dream, as you guys think about it, was sportscaster. I would love just to do highlights, and I would love to call a game. Probably baseball. Probably currently could do better than Joe Buck. That's my hot take. I can't stand listening to Joe Buck. But
Oh, come on.
yeah, well,
He's the
He
best
can't even
around.
defend himself right now.
I know. Well,
around.
that's what I said. That's why I said right now I'm better than Joe Buck because Joe Buck's not doing anything. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, here, we want to just give you what sports used to be like. So there's a fantastic web browser thing. So I want to just get you guys a reminder, a little bit of sports. We'll hit the NBA, we're going to hit hockey, we're going to hit baseball. So, Father, would you hit play right there for me? And we're just going to, let me just tell you. Here we go. We're going to go live. Some sports highlights. Sports highlights from April 4th, 2019, because that's what we've got. That's all we got, So this day, yesterday, 1 year ago and yesterday,
You're living out your dream right
this
now.
is it. This is good. Here we go. The Bucks went to the Sixers. They went to the NBA first. We're going to go. They defeat the Sixers, 76ers, 128 to 122. Joel Embiid led the 76ers scoring, posting 34 points. While the team shot almost 500%. Guyana's Antetokounmpo. What's his name? It's right there.
Giannis.
And then whatever. He was on the Bucks.
He's Greek.
He had 45 points though. I mean, pretty impressive for that guy.
You would have excelled as a broadcaster.
I would have prepped for that. Next, the Warriors traveled to LA and the struggling Lakers. They came out victorious, beating the Lakers 108 to 90. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about that game. Because nobody really cares about those two teams, I think. I don't like the NBA. But now to the hockey we go.
It was a year ago.
And it's a year. Well, no, but this is the feel. This is the feel. All right, now we're gonna go to hockey. The Blackhawks were off yesterday, 1 year ago yesterday, so it doesn't really matter to me. But if you care about the terrible team from St. Louis, they happened to pull out a victory against the Flyers, 7-3. I think that Punk O'Reilly, he had one of the 4 goals in the first period. Flyers hard to come back.
Do you think they're gonna win the cup though?
No, that's not a chance. Not a chance. And then finally, to everyone's favorite baseball. Cardinals were off, so we don't have to worry about the Cardinals. That's a blessing. But then the Cubs fell. They fell to the Braves 9-4, even though Rizzo and Baez went deep on the ninth. scoring 4 runs in the ninth. Still not enough to come back to the Braves. So that's their sports. Brought to you by this date, April 4th, 2019. Back when we actually could watch and care. So there we go. That's your sports update. God bless you for that. You know, let's say the day back in the day when we could watch sports and it actually mattered. So anyway,
Even though those scores didn't matter to anyone, that's all right. That's all right.
well,
They
you
were
can
none of our teams.
remember that. They were
none
my that's
Right? There were the Blackhawks. There was the Blues. Yeah.
There-
No, there wasn't the Blues.
There
Was
was
there Blues?
there was the
There
Blues.
was the Blues. I
There's
wasn't
no doubt.
listening.
Gosh, the music was over.
Do we have any questions? Can we
Yeah,
talk to
we
the
got
people?
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
well,
what's going
no,
on?
they posted no questions.
Well, but there's the questions that from here.
They've submitted beforehand. All right.
So
what do we
one
got?
of the questions that came from last week and is still there unanswered. What is one of the favorite things we like to do together when not at SJCNC? So let's go through that. Favorite things we like to do.
We, as individuals or together? What was the?
No, I would say both. I think
Together, I
the
think
question
it's-
was together. Like, what
well,
is the three of us? What do we do?
I think we
when
like hanging out with the other priests. On Saturday nights, usually different rectories take turns hosting meals for the priests or the clergy in the area, and that's always a fun thing to do to see the other brother priests.
Yep. I would say we vacation, Father Lampin and I vacationed together a couple times, so that's a good highlight of the year when that comes around.
I haven't been invited to that yet.
He's not
but,
part of the
It's
club.
okay.
He's not
Someone
part
has
of
to
the
say
club.
Massey.
Well, there's other
No, I would
priests.
say just the normal day to day is a lot of fun. One of the things that I always look forward to at the end of a long day here at St. John's, and we always say that our days are really long and our weeks are really short, and we have long days. We usually come home, generally speaking, around 10:30 at night, and we sit on the upstairs and just in our living room sit and watch the end of sports scores, the end of the news of the day. But just spend time together and kind of catch up on what went on during the day and just have a little brotherhood time before calling it a night. So I always look forward to that.
Yeah. What's one show we like? There's a show we always watch.
Oh man, there's only one.
There's one that we all agree on.
Actually,
There's
there's a couple.
guess. Can you guess what our show is
Ooh.
Yeah.
to watch in the evenings when we're chilling out? Maybe we can come back to that
There's
one.
a couple that we just started
Let's see.
on though too that
Oh.
that I don't know if we
gosh.
can admit to, but
That's right.
our favorite
That's
one.
right.
Do we have any guesses
I
though
wonder
yet?
if we get some guesses, that would be fun. We could come back to that one.
Yeah.
Father
Alright,
Lampin has
there's
something highlighted on
There's
the
a
screen.
big lag. This one of the questions that came up here. Who is the worst with household chores like dishes? Actually, I think we're all pretty good. I think. I don't know. Maybe this is a time where the truth
We're
comes
having
out.
an intervention. I'm glad you're all here because we need to talk about some things. Yeah. No, I think we're pretty good.
We keep a pretty clean house. I know that I don't know. I like countertops clean, so I'm usually
Yeah.
doing countertops. But I don't know. We take turns unloading the dishwasher, so dishwasher really does our cleaning. And I know I will say that I'm at fault. I always leave my clothes in the washer or the dryer. I always forget about it. I don't know why.
Yep.
Part of it is that I don't like
That's
to.
true, yeah.
That's true.
That is true.
That is true.
No, the reason for that sometimes is because I don't like to fold my clothes and unless they're just hot out of the dryer. I don't like to let them sit there all day, because they get all wrinkled and everything.
Right.
And then so I try to do it when I'm home, and I just never in the house. So
There was
I never
one
get
time
around to
I
it.
walked into the laundry room and the key point here, the washer lid was down, but I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
So I just got the washer going, we got the water rolling, and then I went to get my clothes and I opened up the lid. I'm like, oh, there's clothes in here. So I turned it off and let it spin again to get the water out. And then I think I put it in
Those
the
are
dryer.
mine.
Yeah, they were yours.
That's I appreciate you admitting that because there have been more than one occasion where I open up the dryer and I think to myself, when did I buy all this Under Armour stuff? It's like, this isn't mine, is it? And it's like, boy, they shrink.
Put them on.
Yeah, it's like so if you're in here stretched out, and even if your shirts are stretched out, my fault. I'm sorry.
There was some questions about our favorite flower. I thought that's an interesting.
Oh, what's that?
Our favorite flower.
Favorite flower? The Easter lily.
Easter lily, yeah.
I like
yeah.
the Easter lily a lot.
That's the white
fragrance.
one?
Yeah, the one that's got a little.
Oh, I like that one too.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, and it's got.
What flowers do we know? Maybe
Oh, come on.
How many can we
Be fair,
name?
be fair.
Roses.
Pink rose, yellow rose, white rose. Well, there's three already.
violets.
Red,
Easter
and then the Easter lily.
There's violets.
Tulips, dandelions.
Oh gosh.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's a good question.
That is a good one. I would have to go with rose on there, but I like a good tulip.
the,
I like a good tulip. Except when they, the problem with the Easter flowers sometimes is we'll see in a little bit is they get droopy.
They do.
So the
Yeah, you do.
the lilies dry up and droop over. Droop so much they just die, and then the tulips just go bloop, and the daffodils go bloop. And that's what they do.
What do they do?
It makes that sound.
What sound? Bloop, 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 bloop. What?
You haven't been in there where they've
What's
done it. I've heard
what's
it.
the violet one?
The hyacinths with the real strong smell?
Yes, those
Yeah.
I like those too.
Those are nice. They have a nice smell. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're great.
Yep. Yep.
Let's see. Father Kyle.
Oh no.
I think he means Father Lucas.
Identity crisis.
It's an old former student. Great to see you doing well.
Nice. What's up, former student?
The official Connor. The official Connor.
Oh
many of you.
man, the official
Connor G.
Connor.
Connor G.
Oh,
Remember
yeah,
him?
I do.
Yeah, Connor G. Oh, how you remember
You always
Connor
I
G.
do. Connor G.
What a guy.
Oh my gosh.
I do.
Oh my gosh. Favorite book besides the Bible?
Favorite book.
That would imply that we read books. So
Yeah,
that's very
so
generous
thank
of
you.
you to
Yes,
that's
yes. My favorite is the one I always go to is The Soul of the Apostolate. I haven't read it in a while now, but I like that book, and I'll say one other book. So two extremes. Soul of the Apostolate's a pretty deep spiritual book, but made a big impact on my life when I was in college. And then another book that made an impact on my life in college was The Little Prince, and that story, that children's book that has some profound lessons that can be learned.
Nice. I wonder if watching the movie counts for reading the book. So if I say like I love Lord of the Rings, but I actually have read that book. So I might always say Lord of the Rings was one of my favorites to walk through. I like the movies with that as well. And spiritually, my favorite that I've come across is The Return of the Prodigal Son by Henry Nouwen. That's the one I keep on my shelf and I like to hand out to people. Just about identity of our sonship and being sons and daughters in the Lord. So yeah, I would say those two are my go-tos.
Yeah, one that was maybe, I don't know that it's my favorite, but maybe one of the most impactful one from my life was when I was kind of discerning the priesthood. My dad sent me a book by Scott Hahn called Rome, Sweet Home. And it all talked about his conversion to the Catholic Church. And it just made a really big impact on me and kind of where I was at in my discernment helped me to make some decisions that were hard. And so that was really good. But one that I think is accessible to everyone is I would say one of my favorites now. I just read it maybe my first year of priesthood. It's called John Paul the Great, written by Jason Everett.
Yeah, that's
It's a very simple read.
Yeah.
If you don't want to read the huge books about him, like the George Weigel book is so big that it's intimidating. This is a short book, and it's just stories about John Paul II, and fantastic. Love it.
Someone's asking about our favorite memory. This is actually Jen. Hey, Jen. 2N Jen.
Jen,
Fave memory from the year with Newman Hall or the Catholic Illini. Favorite
Oh
memory.
my gosh.
I'll go first again.
Go.
I guess, but the synapses are firing today for me.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good.
Well, just the canonization last October of St. John Henry Newman, and having the chance to go to Rome to represent our Catholic Illini community with a few students. It's actually easy for me to forget because it's all the way back in October, but when I do start to think about the whole year, I think about that time, and that was just kind of a once in a lifetime experience to be able to do that.
How about as a student, Father?
As a student, the first thing that comes to mind, well, there's maybe two now, is just being a sacristan and kind of the fun stuff we did in the chapel and getting to know the priest. But one of those things we did was we went down for the Sugar Bowl when Illinois won the Big Ten Conference that year in football. They should have gone to the Rose Bowl, but the Rose Bowl was the championship game that year. So we went to the Sugar Bowl, and a handful of us went down to host a hospitality suite just to try to get in contact with some of our alumni. And we just had a blast down there in New Orleans. It was a lot of fun.
Dang, I don't know how to follow that, but I'll do my best. So my as a priest, just a few months here as part of the pastoral staff, I would say my fondest memory is just the move-in festivities. Both Father Lampin and Father Chase warned me about just what we could try to expect. Here's what it looks like, and meeting everybody in the chaos, well, guided chaos, I guess. But that was a blast, just seeing the parents, the family, and then the students of Newman Hall and our Catholic Alumni family. As a priest, that was my favorite. But as a student, one of my fondest memories is just my floor mates and I would have a tradition of going out to the South Quad and playing wiffle ball. We'd have to try to maneuver through the guys that play cricket all the time. They think they're still here.
The sword fighting.
Yeah.
people.
Oh, and there's some sword fighting people. I remember that as well. Oh my gosh. But then we would have a league, kind of like we'd put some teams together and we'd do a round robin. So that was fun to do that on the South Quad. So those are my memories.
And I'll say, I've had the privilege to be here for 4 years now, and there's so many memories. But for those of you who remember, you'd have to be a senior, I guess, now to remember Father Bill Bucciferro.
Mm-hmm.
And he and I share a birthday, so we just got in touch with each other and got to talk. So many fond memories of Father Bill. One of that stands out was the night of his 40th profession into his religious community as a Salesian and as a priest. And so that was just a great time. And I just remember, honestly, and I know this pains probably everybody to hear right now, but the Easter Vigil here every year is one of the highlights of the entire year. And that has to do with the amount of celebration, the culmination of the liturgical year, but also we get like 20 to 30 students who actually we witness their conversion on that night. Like we see them receive Jesus for the first time. Baptism, the sacrament of confirmation, the Eucharist, it's just amazing. We always have a big, make a festivity out of that. So that's always a fun one, and really lamenting missing that this year with everybody.
Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to know if Carol killed her husband on Tiger King, but we haven't actually gotten to that
Don't
episode
ruin
yet.
it for me.
We're not there yet.
No, we're not there yet.
She did what? Why did you say that? Gosh.
Oh, so going back to that TV question, that's one that we're starting to try to dive through.
It's not our favorite. We watched one episode, the first episode.
So far, yeah. Maybe tonight. Maybe episode.
What?
Maybe, are you ahead of us?
I'm
gosh.
3 in.
I purposely haven't watched it because I thought we
I know,
watched it.
we were watching it
Okay. No, oh my god.
My gosh.
Oh my gosh. I'm happy to
That's the way it
rewatch
works.
it. Happy to rewatch it. Because you always learn something.
Oh my gosh.
Tiger King.
Yes.
Kind of related to that, what favorite movies? We were going through that with the seminarians maybe last weekend. We were coming up with a list of movies to watch. I think that's always very telling. I probably shouldn't say it that way, but I think it's always very telling what movies people like to watch, because my favorite is Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs.
Oh my gosh.
Some of our Catholic Alumni out here outside
Trying to peek in.
trying to stare in.
Oh my
The
heavens.
CDC now says 26 feet apart.
Yeah,
so
That's right. That they're in
No.
violation. Oh my gosh.
Monica
found
and
the door.
Katie G
Shout out to
Yeah,
the.
indeed.
Oh my gosh.
and Maggie. Yep.
Maggie McClowry.
Mm,
Favorite movies.
go.
Back
Yeah.
to the prompt. One of my favorite movies is The Count of Monte Cristo.
Oh yeah.
And love that movie. It's a movie of kind of like revenge, but it's which actually may say something if you
Yeah,
say
really.
that. But it's about justice,
That's why I
actually.
don't wanna watch it.
Not necessarily revenge, but justice. But it's a lot of fun.
It doesn't interest me.
It's good.
That's
What?
good. That doesn't interest me.
Nothing.
Nothing. I don't know if I've even seen it. Mine, I would have to say, My Cousin Vinny is up there. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch that. And like Goodfellas, I just those are
Yeah.
those are just some classics. And then Shawshank Redemption.
Very explicit. That good
Which is-
but it's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, so there's some really good. My
Spy
favorite,
Game?
what's that?
Spy Game? Have you guys ever watched
I
Spy
have
Game?
Spy. Yes,
Never even heard of it.
Man.
it's been a while.
Robert
It's-
Redford and Brad Pitt and it's
Oh,
an old spy teaching a guy how to be a young spy, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of drama, but amazing movie.
Yep.
Well, probably time to wrap up here. Excuse me. Pardon me.
Did we get back to the guess our favorite TV show yet?
Oh yeah. Well, no one made it. I think Tiger King was the guess.
Tiger King is not it. We're not that far to even know, but
It's,
Oh
it's
my
pretty.
gosh.
It's sad that it's entertaining, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just maybe this question, then we'll do one more and wrap up. What type of music do y'all listen to? Do y'all like to listen to? Oh, childhood nickname. That's a good one too.
Type of music.
Yeah,
I like all kinds of music. I grew up, probably I would say that some of my favorites were Dave Matthews Band back in the day. I like James Taylor, the greatest hits. I like a lot of live music, anything that's live. So I enjoy going to shows. I learned to like country music when I went to college in South Carolina. So that's kind of what lit a fire for country music. But a little bit of everything. I listened to a lot of hip hop back in high school and in college. And then when I moved to South America, it was reggaeton. So some cumbia. So there's it's a little smorgasbord. Yeah.
I was gonna say
that's
cumbia.
That's what I
You
listened.
stole mine.
Rigatoni? Did you say rigatoni? That's a noodle. That's
Lucas just got hungry.
I just
We're talking about music.
Okay, we're talking about different noodles, pastas.
Oh, shoot.
Mine, I guess I would say I can tolerate any music except for rap. I for whatever reason I just don't understand it, and I guess that's me. If there's anything to understand, so I just when rap comes on, I have to turn away or turn it off or whatever. What I prefer is just what I grew up with, kind of like with Father Chase. Just those golden oldies. I like the Beatles, the Eagles,
Nice.
those kind of bands, the Mamas and the Papas.
Yeah,
What do you
70s
think
stuff.
about- So
Great.
70s, yeah, yes, ABBA,
The oldies.
all those kind of stuff.
Yeah, the
The
oldies.
70s.
Those aren't the oldies, but
When we were your age, the oldies were the 50s. You know.
all right.
Well, there you go. So that's
And now
what
I think the
would
90s
say.
are the oldies.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, that's probably true. Boy bands, Backstreet's back. All right.
For me, it really depends on the kind of mood I'm in, but I do enjoy just listening to the 90s grunge music that I grew up with in high school or whatever. But I don't really listen to that all that much. Maybe if I just want to feel a little angsty, put it on
Mighty
there.
Mighty Boss Tones, do you remember them?
It rings a bell, but I can't say I remember them.
Ska music. Ska.
Well, Father
Ska.
Lucas, I'll throw it to you. Just maybe the final question for today. Do you have one that you wanted to? Because you
Ooh,
kind of come up with some, and
man.
we'll address some others next time around.
Yeah, I think we still have several to go through. I think that's a good stopping point there with music, don't you?
Stop with our TV show.
Oh.
You got to get around to that.
Oh yeah. So the
And
conclusion.
then we have some news to share.
Okay, Father has some.
Well,
news
let's
to
do
share.
it.
So the favorite TV show, what we like as the house.
Oh, we never said it. Yeah.
We never actually said it. Is the Shark Tank.
Shark Tank. Yeah.
Shark Tank.
It's amazing what the market will drive, what people will buy, and what these sharks, these investors, will go for.
Oh, Seinfeld Carol Office. Those are.
Those
Yeah.
are good. Those are good guesses.
Yeah, I like to get into the mind of the sharks to see
The Shark
why they
Tank
make
show.
the decisions they make. Sometimes they
Oh.
buy stuff, and I'm like, why
Good
would you
guess.
invest in that?
Yeah.
Other things I think are
Oh.
really cool and they won't invest in. So
Yeah.
obviously they're a lot smarter than us, and so it's a lot of fun trying to figure out their minds. But really cool to see people's creativity.
Yep.
I like it when they ask questions that we think we'll have answers for, like who's the best Avenger. I don't know if I could name an Avenger.
Who's the Father? Well, this is helpful.
We'll start there next
keep
week.
These, yeah. Keep these coming.
good.
Who's the best Avenger? Thor, because he's a god. That's mine, but we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
You're such a
Just
pagan.
the
I
news
am a
to, the great news that we want to maybe close off with is we are sitting in. Hey, we have a seminary. We have a seminarian in the background.
Whoops.
Isn't that awkward?
Yeah. As we're just wrapping up. So, but then also, to cut you off, Father, but real quick, next week we're going to do a few, but I did. Don't mean to, but I did.
I did.
Next week, there's a couple competitions that you guys
yeah.
threw our way, and we haven't forgotten about those, but we will do those. I would like to do something with Easter eggs. We'll see. Not that we're going to have an Easter egg hunt. But maybe we have a trivia or something, and that there's some hard-boiled eggs, some not hard-boiled.
Oh,
eggs.
that's fun. And then,
And then
smash them against.
yes. So Father Chase has to have
Okay.
a week to prepare for that because
That'd be
Father,
fun.
I think
Do that one.
that's a nice Easter edition. So we haven't forgotten about those. Thank you for sharing
What's that
those.
supposed
I
to
just
mean?
what? That you didn't like the idea? You don't like to get things messy on you.
Yeah.
That beautiful face. We don't want to miss
Yeah.
that.
Well, it doesn't egg yolk make a shine or something? Doesn't it like? I heard it's a cosmetic. Anyway, so this is something we look forward to with your ideas for competition. So those are going to be coming up. So keep tuning in. Announcements, Father.
Is it time now? Can
It
I
is-
actually talk?
Yes, I'm done. I defer.
Welcome to St. John's Catholic School. I'm
Scoot in a
Father
little
Robert
bit.
Lamb.
Scoot in a little further.
What was I going to say? Oh, we're in the presence of greatness. Father Chase received news this week that he has been named to, I don't know exactly, the all-time great team of the soccer team that he played for in Chile. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Just what that was like to receive that news? It really is. It's a really cool
It's
thing.
really
Yeah.
amazing.
No, it's humbling. It's very amazing. There's a couple things I could say about it, but yeah, I was.
Things that people will hear.
I think it's right now while the coronavirus is going on, the sports world is down and everybody's trying to like find some news.
No.
But the fans and the city that I lived in selected their all-time greatest team, right? The top 11 of all time, and I was elected as the best left fullback on that team. And I lived during a very successful time in their history. I realized also that as I looked at the poster of all the people that they selected, they've all been selected in the last, they're all pretty young, so which means like the fans, it's living memory of the all-time greats. But this club is 100 years old or whatever, but yeah, the living memory of the fans is great, but an incredible honor. Anyway, I was so honored by them that even they remember me at all. But yeah, we certainly had an incredible team, won a championship, and so it was, it's an amazing feat, and I'm very humbled and honored by that. So thanks.
That's awesome. Yeah, Father, the goat among us.
The goat.
The goat. But I'm glad you brought up. I meant to bring this up when you said that the kids on that roster, that poster, are all young, because on your 40th birthday that we just celebrated, I said,
Not 40.
He's not 40.
So send him a card for 40th, happy old man. But no, he's not 40. But
He's only a
almost.
few years behind me, so
Several
several.
years behind him. But yes, so celebrate the goat among us.
Yep.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Wish you were here with us.
Yeah, miss you. Praying for you all. Tune in for our Triduum celebrations that as Father Lampin and Father Chase have been mentioning during the masses recently. So tune into those, and we will keep each other up in prayer. So God bless you guys. We'll see you on Easter Sunday from right here, Lewis Lounge.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
From the 6 feet apart,
6 feet
6
around.
feet around and under. Yeah, that's where we're gonna see you.
6 feet around.
All right, God bless you. You wanna go hit that off? Peace.
Peace.
Tap the screen and pause.
Is this thing still on?
And